What is going on, everyone? Welcome to the Investing Bros live show, and we've got a great one lined up for you guys today. We're going to talk about the volatility of the crypto space today. Up and down is the name of the game, but what is the future? Well, a lot of that could hang in the balance about what happens tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Elon Musk is interviewing Donald Trump on X. This is probably one of the biggest interviews in a long time. It's not just because Donald Trump is there, but it's also Elon Musk. And those two are probably if not the two most famous, definitely both in the top 5 most famous people worldwide. What is going to be said tonight? Well, we're going to speculate and talk about that a little bit later on in the show. Could it be a big move for crypto? You're going to have to watch the rest of the show to find out. But first, make sure to smash that like button and hit subscribe as we cover the markets with you guys each and every day. While price action's been up and down and crazy recently, we have a big look at what happens in the future. If that's something you guys love, you found the right channel. But first, before we get into all of those juicy details, we got to roll her in. Well. T. Shroom, how are you doing today, my friend?
Oh, Tim, I'm doing better than I deserve right now, my man. Internet is pumping. We are firing at all cylinders here. And if you're lucky, you might actually hear a lawnmower in the backyard.
Yeah.
Got a little John Deere action going on. You probably won't hear it. But if you do, that's an extra bonus and a reason to like the stream. How are you doing today, Tim?
I'm doing good. I'll tell you this. The summer heat isn't the greatest. But I remember being a little kid dreading, because one of my chores weekly was mowing the yard. Mm-hmm. Hated it. Hated every minute of it. God laughed at me. My first 5 jobs as a grown adult were all in lawn care.
Sure.
But I've come to appreciate a good, relaxing afternoon mowing the yard. You always saw that cliche of the dads. I guess I'm just embracing the full-on dad lifestyle.
Right. Yeah.
I actually like mowing the yard. Is this a desire you have all the time, every day, and you're really disappointed today you have to run a crypto show rather than mowing the yard?
You know what? I begged my friend to let me mow the yard today, and they're just it's a
called
situation.
Selfishness.
That's
selfishness is what it is.
But Tim, I actually, when I was there in Atlanta, the Factoid elf actually snapped a couple of pictures of you while you were mowing the lawn, and they may make themselves into this show, which is a preview for the big Trump-Elon interview that's happening later tonight. We're going to be talking about that. And also, our X Spaces after this show at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're bringing that back a little bit because obviously no one's going to tune into it because the interview will be at 8 p.m. So our preview, extended preview from this show, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The interview itself with Trump and Elon will be at 8 p.m. Eastern. So be staying tuned for those pictures that might make their way into the cycle here. Tim, what's going on with crypto?
Well, yeah, we're going to get into the details. Obviously, the big story of the day is the Donald Trump, Elon Musk interview happening tonight. I'm going to save all the content, though, for later on in the show. If you came listening for that, stick with us. We're going to just update the markets on what is happening really quickly. Let's go ahead and go to my screen and take a look at last 24 hours. It's a mixed bag, and we're going to see this on the charts as well. But in the last 24 hours, you got a lot of coins in the green. None more than sats right here. I'm assuming this is one newer. Yes, it rose 15 points, 15 spots up into the top 100 into 92. Ultimately, though, I would not say that this is one that if you own it, good for you. You made some money today. Not necessarily saying it's one that needs to all of a sudden be added to people's portfolio, but other coins doing extremely well. Tia and Sui continue to be front runners. And of course, this is big news because last week they were added to the list of coins Grayscale is offering. So they continue to have very big moves here. Ordi's doing pretty well. Say's doing pretty well. There's a couple of others like Aptos and HNT as well, but there are some coins not doing so well. Biggest one I'm seeing here, Mantra. You got Solana down 2%, Ondo down 2%, Jupiter down 1.3%. Are big ones. Brett's down 3%, Tao's down 3%, Akash down 3%. But like I said, mixed bag. It's not all green. It's not all red. As a whole, we're kind of moving in a more neutral sideways price action right now. Let's go out here to the daily chart on Bitcoin. You can see here for the last couple of days, we've done a pretty good job over the last couple of months, with the exception of a couple time periods where we kind of get really boring for a couple of weeks, we do a good job of either consistently moving up or consistently moving down. Well, for the last couple of days, while it's overwhelmingly been down, it seems like we've just been stuck right here around 60,000 for a long time, right above it, right below it. When are we finally going to make a bigger move either to the upside or the downside? Well, let's just start off by taking a look and checking back in with what is kind of happening here. As far as the daily chart is concerned, we've talked about this before. We've hit some pretty good levels of support on the daily chart. When we came down here, we hit a major breaker block. We hit a major level of support in a falling channel, which is kind of a broadening wedge channel. We also hit our take profit on a sell order. So for the most part, even including our oscillators, you saw bullish divergence. The daily chart definitely looks like the next move is to the upside. And we talked about this smart trail and this breaker block coming in here, high end around 67.5, lower end maybe here around 63, give or take. We have not quite touched that. So that's going to be something continuing to watch to the upside. But when we come to lower time frames, we told you guys, keep an eye on the smart trail on the 4-hour. While we kind of touched the top end of it, the bottom end still looks kind of intriguing for a potential move down all the way to 56.8. We've kind of hit some hourly levels we talked about recently here, hitting our bullish breaker block here on 57.5. We even, in our morning video I made this morning, I actually told everyone, watch out for a move to this pink block right here, this bearish breaker block. Sure enough, we wicked right up to that level, and now we're falling once again. We're back down on the hourly smart trail at the moment. As a whole, as I said, it's been very, very volatile. It's not necessarily a lot happening. Coming back out to the 4-hour chart, I just want you guys to kind of see this, and I'm going to give you what I think the next couple of moves should look like. I feel pretty good about a move down one more time for the 4-hour chart. I feel pretty good about Bitcoin touching 56.7, give or take. Hit that take profit, hit that smart trail. There's a plethora of different levels kind of being called for here. If you went to the 6-hour chart, you're going to see some confirmation there as well. I believe even the 8-hour chart. 8-hour chart actually going a lot lower, saying 55. But we definitely have the 2-hour, the 4-hour, the 6-hour. It's all saying that. But as far as the daily chart is concerned, I still at this point think that the bottom is in. If anyone was saying, man, are we going to see another level of 49,000 or lower? I'm not saying impossible, but there's a pretty good chance that that was the bottom. At this point, you are looking for a small pullback with a higher low before price more than likely continues to the upside. That's what Bitcoin is doing. As a whole, what is kind of the takeaway here? And we'll address a lot of other coins as well today. We'll engage with chat. We'll take a look at a lot of your favorite coins that you guys like to look at. But the real thing right now that's happening is if you own crypto, you need to be holding. Do not be capitulating. Do not be selling into any fear. We covered that in our morning video this morning. There's still a lot of fear out there. But if you're asking, should I be loading up my bags right now because we are about to explode today? Well, that one's a different issue. We might need to see a little bit more of a correction first. As we said, we're going to break more into the details of the Donald Trump and Elon Musk interview that is happening tonight in just 5 hours. However, while I'm going to save my thoughts about the details of what are being said, I want to make sure you guys understand, I think a big move will come because of that. The difference, though, is that we don't know which direction, and we don't know how volatile we will be during that interview or maybe even shortly after. So while I cannot promise you any specific level, we do have some decent understanding. Let's go back to my screen here, T-Shroom, that 56.5 is going to be a significant level of support. If we reach that level, that's probably a good level to load up some more bags. And if we shot up here to 66,000, give or take, to 67, there's a good chance that Bitcoin ends up seeing some resistance there. But let's take a look at our liquidations chart, because this is something that we've talked about for a little bit now. There is some open interest beginning to develop all the way down back towards 54,000. If we go back over to the charts, actually, on our 4-hour chart, I want to say, or was it a 4-hour chart? We definitely have an order block in that area in the lower levels of take profit, but I think it was the 8-hour chart that we actually saw. Yeah, here we go. 8-hour chart showing a smart trail in this $54,000 area. Why is that significant? Because as we mentioned in the morning video this morning, and at the end of last week on Saturday, we talked about how open interest on Bitcoin had hit a low as of recently. There's just no leverage left in the space. Well, a lot of people since this weekend, it appears, have entered long positions, now giving us some target levels for potential trade or a little bit of a long squeeze where we move the price back down to 54,000. This, of course, is still a higher low, but it does present an interesting target in the short term for traders to mess with the emotions of the average retail investor and push price to the downside. With that said, let's go to a longer time frame so you can see a clearer picture, because some people are wondering, Tim, just are you bullish? Are you bearish? What are you saying? What I'm saying is short term, I think there's still a little bit lower prices coming. But take a look at the open interest on the long-term market. We eliminated everything down below for the most part here on the 3-month chart, but it's looking very juicy as we get back towards 70,000. There's a lot of shorts that could be conquered or liquidated right at these levels, which makes me believe while a small dip could be coming, I still see the horizon being in the next couple of weeks, a short squeeze, where price goes back up, potentially even hits new all-time highs, eliminating all of those liquidations right there. So as a whole, kind of referencing as we kind of close out Bitcoin, we're going to get into some articles. We'll engage with chat here for a second. What are my predictions in terms of price movement and direction? In the short term, I'm still bearish. I still think that price is going to be moving to the downside. We hit a nice level of resistance this morning that I did call for, and now it's time to take a move to the downside, possibly as low as 54,000. After that, though, when we look at the long horizon, I still believe a bigger rally and new highs are coming sooner than a lot of people on the internet are saying. I can't promise you it'll happen before August, but I do know there's a lot of catalysts that maybe we'll dive into a little more in the show, but I'll just reference them. There's a lot of things happening in August that I do believe will bring major bullish price action. Number one, this Wednesday, we're going to be getting inflation data. And while some people are afraid that maybe that data could be negative, all signs at this point and expectations are that those numbers should be favorable. If they are favorable, meaning they're low or at least the same where they were last month, that could actually be extremely bullish for Bitcoin's price and the rest of the crypto space. That happens this Wednesday. But here in a couple of weeks, the 21st and 22nd, we have the Jackson Hole Summit, where the Fed, the Federal Reserve, and Jerome Powell will be meeting to discuss what the long-term plan looks like for how we're going to handle money. And depending on what he announces on the 22nd when he has a press conference, that also could lead us to an indication that possibly we're going to get rate cuts in September. That would be very bullish. And then, of course, the granddaddy of them all. If there's fears right now that we're potentially heading for a recession, what is the greatest detail of data that people look at? It's GDP. Well, that GDP report will be coming out on the 29th. So what that means is we have 3 opportunities from an economic standpoint to get rid of fear and pump price, and all of those come within the next couple of weeks in August, which, if all of them go favorably, could mean September is when Bitcoin sees new all-time highs. With that said, though, T-Shroom, let's engage with chat here for just a second. Then we'll jump into some of our stories. What are you seeing in chat as we're breaking all of this down?
Yeah, well, Froggy Farmers V3 is unabashedly jumping in the chat and saying no rate cuts in September. That is quite a take. I don't know that there's many folks out there who don't think we're going to get a cut in September. Tim, just real quick, off the hip, and I'll go ahead and answer first. What would happen if we did not get a cut in September? I think you'd see a big shakeup in the bond market, which is currently pricing a rate cut in September, and that would have ultimately I think that would actually have bullish effects on U.S. equities, at least if it was just the bond market in a vacuum. But I would have to estimate that on a net that risk assets would sell off. Very, very interesting. I don't even really know what would happen exactly. What do you think?
I'd say this. I don't think that Bitcoin and crypto haven't rallied that high. So we're not at the moment pricing in rate cuts. Crypto is way more. I mean, people have seen it, said it in chat. They've seen it. Gold has actually been doing pretty well over the last little bit. Crypto, it's not falling off the deep end. Some altcoins have gone down pretty far, but Bitcoin as a whole, and even Ethereum and most of the larger coins, they're not necessarily past the point of no return, but they definitely have been disappointing compared to where I think a lot of newer investors thought they would be when they invested here a couple of months ago. That's why we are seeing capitulation, because it's newer investors who invested a lot based off of a hype cycle that happened earlier this year, and now they're not seeing returns, and they're seeing all the fear and they're getting scared. Mm-hmm. But that being said, I don't think we've priced in a rate cut. So I'll tell you this, it's not going to be bullish if we don't cut rates. I don't give that as being an excuse to say like Bitcoin might climb, but it's not going to be because we didn't cut rates. If we cut rates, that's bullish. If we don't cut rates, we're kind of just sticking around neutral. Now, here's what I'll say. If Jackson Hole leads us to believe, like if Jerome Powell says something to the effect of, yeah, we're thinking it looks right to go ahead and cut rates in September, but then something between the 22nd and then September, the 18th, when they actually give the announcement. If something changes and we don't cut rates, that could have bearish consequences for crypto. Also, negative GDP could shake up everything else, right? I said the fear right now is that there's an impending recession. The expectation is that GDP will come in at 2.3. The Atlanta Fed has actually said that's not quite right. We're actually expecting 2.5. So every sign that we're looking ahead of time is actually saying GDP is not going to be what everyone thinks it's going to be. But if it is low, if it's getting closer to that 0 point, watch the fear of recession start to creep back in. And even though crypto and specifically Bitcoin will be a long-term safe haven for problems with recession, it's going to cause an immediate shock in price, in which case I think if that news comes out that GDP is much lower than 2.3, that to me is the catalyst for a $42,000 to $33,000 Bitcoin back on the table.
Wow. Yeah, it could be. That could definitely give the market what it needs to say recession is definitely coming.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be really interesting.
I just don't see a world though where the current governing bodies who have control over Band-Aid solutions for the economy allow those numbers to come out that way. It's not impossible, but I think if we're all thinking constructively, we all understand the motivations of who collects this data, manipulates this data, presents this data. They don't survive a world where that data looks poor. They need that data to look good so that they potentially can continue to hold on to their job. So it's one of those things. I'm not even going to say the world of reality is we're not heading for a recession at some point in the near future. I just have this belief system based how we see these things work out that the data is going to come out favorably. Whether it's truthful or not, that's a different conversation. But I think the data points come out favorably and does spark a resurgence in both the stock market and crypto.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we got a compliment here. We got to read it. Kingdom Koopa 22 said, "Hope you guys are doing well. Thanks, and always for the information. Stay blessed." And we got a doubter here. Tony Rosas said, "Facts, no rate cuts. That would be foolish. Inflation sucks." So Tony thinking that inflation is too big of a risk to cut rates. Of course, that would be something that the FOMC considers. But I don't think the way that the bond market has gone ahead and repriced for a rate cut, I just don't think that they're going to be disappointed. I think the bond market usually doesn't get it wrong.
I'll tell you this, T-Sherm. The other thing is we've watched in the past how we've held off on lowering interest rates to try to fight inflation, and we have seen the economy going to go spiral and go downside. I think Jerome Powell, while he's been dancing around answers, he has made it very clear he's been studying the moves of former Fed chairmen. He's been watching how they responded back in the 80s and the 90s and even in 2008, and he's making it very clear that he wants to react very differently, which is why it leads me to I want to make sure Tony Rojas, I think, gave that answer. I want you to know you're not wrong. You're not wrong in saying we need to continue to tackle inflation. Inflation is not under control. I'm not disagreeing with you there. Where I disagree with you is that they won't cut rates, and it's because I think that Jerome Powell and the current Fed administration is going to say, hey, guys, remember last time that we had a situation where we could have cut rates to prevent a recession and a major unemployment move. We held off because we wanted to tackle inflation, and we ended up costing the country a couple years of prosperity. Let's go ahead and keep the job strong. Let's start cutting rates slowly to give the illusion of a soft landing. And ultimately, it'll make all of us sitting in Washington look really, really good and possibly get reelected. I agree with you. Inflation is a problem. Americans know it's a problem. That has no effect on how the Fed decides to move. And so if you're thinking from a position of I'm in the Fed and I want to keep my job, I got to make things look good. Now, all of a sudden, that September rate cut, also November, also December, maybe pump some more life into the economy over the next couple of weeks or next couple of months. Mm-hmm. That makes a lot of logical sense if I'm sitting in the Fed's job right now and I'm worried that a changing of the guard could cost me my job.
Yeah, no, I think you're spot on with that, Tim, and we've got some diversity of opinions here.
I love it though. Yeah,
in the chat, Kyle Fields jumping in says the fact the modern credit score system only started in 1989 tells you how immature our economic system is. It's a good point. Good little data point there. More from Kyle Fields actually. Kind of getting on the Trump train here. Kyle Fields said, "I hope Elon and Trump smoke a J during the interview." A little 420 friendly comment.
I'll tell you
there.
this. I don't think that wouldn't affect a lot of people watching. There's probably some people who even think it was funny. Let me make a hardcore prediction. That is not going to happen. There is a large base of followers that Donald Trump has that would be disgusted at that. And I'll be very honest with everybody. Let's not pretend that the last 2 weeks for the Donald Trump campaign have been the best. I believe doing something like that would be a major mistake. I think this is an opportunity for him to turn some things around. Smoking a joint would not be one of those opportunities.
Yeah. I think that's an interesting thought there. Kyle Fields probably getting a good chuckle out of us. It
would be funny though. I would chuckle, but I just don't think it's going to happen.
Awesome. Super cool. Well, Tim, kind of in this vein, I actually tweeted out yesterday this poll here that actually got a decent amount of traction. Out of 60 votes, I asked, is it this simple? Risk assets will trade sideways until election concludes. Most people said yes, but it was pretty close. It was 39 to 49. So, I want your take though, Tim. Could it really just be this simple that we're going to see Bitcoin, the S&P, the NASDAQ, Apple, Nvidia, Tesla, all of it just kind of move sideways in range bound between its respected ranges?
Let me tell you why
going on.
I will tell you why I disagree with what it looks like the majority of the people voting said. I don't believe the election season is a decision point, bullish or bearish thing. We're going to try to price in the expectation for elections. One of the reasons why crypto has fallen from 69,000, as I mentioned over the last couple of weeks, is because the perceived good guy for crypto, Donald Trump, has not been doing as well. And in recent polls, whether you believe them or not, there are millions of people who look at those and take them into heavy consideration. Polls right now are showing Kamala Harris has taken a slight lead. Well, as being perceived the president who's not good for crypto, watching the price coming down is actually the market slightly saying we have genuine concern that we're not going to get our crypto guy in the office. Well, guess what? We had a lot of time between now and the actual election season, but that right there tells you the election is going to be a level of buy the rumor, sell the news, or sell the news, sell the rumor, buy the news. What I mean by that is let's pretend there's a world where Donald Trump is going to be president and we see it coming. Well, what's going to happen is we're going to rally into the election itself. Donald Trump will win the election. People will go nuts. People will run to their computer, go buy more crypto. But the whales and institutions will use this as an opportunity to manipulate markets. And on the day it actually happens, price isn't going to crash. I don't want you guys to think crash, but it will correct. We'll have a massive run up into it, and then price will pull back day of. And then a week or so later, price will resume its bullish formation. Let's pretend Kamala wins. Well, in that case, watch price dip into the election season, but on the day that she actually wins president, it's going to pump in price. Why? Because this is how these things work. You don't wait for the actual event to decide to buy or to sell. Markets are pricing this stuff in well ahead of time, and it always takes a volatile turn as the actual event comes out to fruition. I'll tell you this, if the race between them stays super neutral and it's honestly a coin toss, then you might see Bitcoin trade sideways. I just don't think that's going to happen. I think there will be, after at least one, if not more debates, I think the American people will get a better understanding of who they think is going to win president. I think crypto and the stock markets will move accordingly, but watch out for, again, either buy the rumor, sell the news, or sell the rumor, buy the news. Look for volatility around election season. Sideways action could happen. I just am not going to predict it.
Yeah, I've got pulled up here the betting odds that were mysteriously taken down from realclearpolling.com the other day, but it's back up now, and it does show that Harris has taken the lead here Again, these are the betting odds. This is a aggregation of, it looks like 7 different betting markets, including Bet Online, Bovada, Polymarket, Smarkets. So the likelihood that all of these are being rigged is possible. It's not zero, right? But so I've seen a lot of people down in the chat saying the polls are rigged, and it's possible, right? It's also possible that the betting odds are rigged, but I don't know. I don't know. What do you think, Tim?
I want to make sure people understand. The other thing is, when they're taking these polls, they're not asking the question to people, who are you voting for? They're asking the pressure, who do you think is doing they're asking the question, who do you think is doing a better job? Right? So a couple of weeks ago, it's Donald Trump versus Joe Biden. Obviously, people saw the debate happen between them. They're worried about the health and longevity of Joe Biden. So even the Democrats being asked these questions, who have no purpose and no intention to vote for Donald Trump, they still answer the question, yeah, Donald Trump's doing better right now. Well, effectively, what these polls are communicating is, over the last 2 weeks, let's not beat around the bush, Kamala Harris has been extremely quiet. She's done things like hired a VP or gotten a VP candidate in Tim Walz. Some people love him. Some people hate him. I don't know where you guys sit on it. But as a whole, they've not made many moves. I mean, even J.D. Vance made a joke about that. He says they're not sitting in front of cameras. They're not taking any interviews, blah, blah, blah. You can say what you want. I'll let you know, as somebody who I always love to put myself in a position for any person. I always like to say, if I was on this person's team or if I was in their camp, how would I tell them to handle the situation? And I think in all reality, the way Kamala has been quiet and not taking interviews, well, eventually she's going to have to speak and she's going to have to answer. And she's going to have to come up with some good sentences in a row to convince the American people she's the right presidential candidate. It's actually been a great strategy to be silent and let Donald Trump speak on everything he wants. Let Donald Trump attack. Because right now, I think the American people are all kind of getting to a spot where they're saying, tell us why you'll be the best president. Tell us why you should be the person I vote for. I think the concept of candidates going after each other, attacking, it's losing ground as being a main thing that people want to see. And so what you have is a quiet Kamala Harris with her aides putting out things about how she's going to be the greatest president in American history. But you have Donald Trump continue to attack. You have J.D. Vance continue to attack. You did something very foolish. I mean, I think he can fix it, but when Donald Trump went after Joe Rogan for what he said about RFK, massive mistake. So it's not people out in the street saying, oh, I'm voting for Kamala over Donald Trump easily. It's people looking at what is happening right now and saying, who's doing a better job? And they're saying, well, right now, Kamala's doing a better job. All of this can flip-flop in about 2 or 3 weeks, just like it just did when Trump had a massive lead on her at the very beginning. It's a little too early for people to be freaking out about what the polls say. That being said, make sure you understand what these polls are being asked. They're not asking who's voting for who. We don't even know who's going to be showing up to polling come November. It's simply asking people, who do you think is doing a better job right now? And to be fair with you, I think Kamala actually has been doing a better job over the last 2 weeks by playing the quiet game. It actually was a good strategy. The problem is I don't think it's going to work long term.
Yeah, well, and you're watching the show. You may agree or disagree with what you're hearing politically. We are getting maybe a little bit more political than we usually would on this show because of the big event that's coming out tonight. We're kind of speculating on that. But ultimately, somebody like Kamala Harris is in a position where she doesn't need to do a lot of talking, right? Now that the media has decided that Joe Biden is in the rearview mirror, now they have this young, energetic person who they can just do all the heavy lifting for to try and get her message out there. Whether you agree with that or not, that does seem to be happening.
Think about it this way, T-shirt. It's brilliant because guess what she's been able to do in the last 2 weeks? As these polls come out the way they are, it's allowing her to raise more funding for her campaign. Mm-hmm. So again, she is going to have to speak. And I think there's a lot of people in this chat, myself included, that thinks that's going to be a downfall. I don't think she's going to do a very good job doing it. But again, one of the biggest things that people need to remember, who said this? I don't know if this was the guy from China that killed everybody. I don't know. But the concept of underestimating your opponent is the biggest mistake you can make. Underestimating what your opponent's capable of. Is it Sun Tzu? I think that's Sun Tzu, but I can't remember.
It sounds like
that effectively is what I would say is everyone needs to, before they just throw insults at everyone, make sure you understand who your opposition is. Put yourself in their footsteps. If you're a Kamala person and it's Donald Trump, don't call Donald Trump a racist and a bigot and a this. Put yourself in his shoes and try to understand him, because until you understand him, you cannot defeat him. In the same way, if you're a fan of Donald Trump and you want to defeat Kamala Harris, don't just say she's this or that or make fun of her or talk about her past. Mm-hmm. Get yourself into her shoes and understand what's good for her and what's bad for her, because that's the way you'll understand how to defeat her. And as somebody who likes to put myself in these spots, I'm sitting here saying, I don't think Kamala Harris is the right person for president. I'll be honest with you. However, if I was her campaign manager, what they've done over the last 2 weeks has been brilliant for fundraising and giving them a chance here in a couple of months. Is it going to work? Is it going to last long term? We'll have to wait and see on that one. But at the moment, I'm just not going to sit and lie to you guys that she's not doing a good job with the cards she's been given. She is. Is it going to work? I don't think so, but yeah.
Well, clearly she is. I mean, we just saw the betting odds there. Even if you think they're being spoofed, right? Trump had an insanely high lead, and so it all can't be spoofed. She look, like, the Democratic Party's half the country, right? The politics is 50-50 in the United States. We can agree whether it should or shouldn't be, right? But it does. The last few elections have been very, very close elections. You know, the Democrats just didn't have somebody that they believed in. The media was sniffing that out, and so over the course of 2 weeks, things shifted very, very quickly. So, you know, that 50% was just kind of sitting on their hands, distracted with other things, you know, and now they're not. Now they're energized, they're interested, they're ready to go to the polls because they're hearing someone get up there and say the things that, at least say anything, say something coherent, and, you know, you can agree or disagree whether or not you're thinking that you hear things coherent from Ms. Harris, but
I'll tell you this, teacher. We just so everyone knows, this part of the conversation was not planned. Great chat engagement. You guys have been awesome. Yeah. That being said, I don't know what our flow was, but I want to just go ahead and say this is a great transition to go ahead and get into what is happening tonight. It's 3:30. We're halfway through the show. A lot of you guys clicked on this, seeing Elon and Trump in the thumbnail. In case you do not know, if you do not have access to X, formerly known as Twitter, get it. Whether you are a supporter or not, I think the world is going to be watching this conversation between two of the most famous men in the world, Elon Musk and Donald Trump. We've got some thoughts about what this could mean for crypto, for the U.S., and for the world as a whole. But Teach Room, first, let's lay some groundwork and some details about kind of what's going into this tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I do need everybody to smash the like button.
Yes.
You've been seeing the like button smash. Call to action. Make sure you are helping out the investing bros and smashing that like button. Well, what's going on is exactly what you just said, Tim. Is Elon Musk has what many consider to be the last platform for true free speech. Now, of course, there's many, many more, but none near the scale and the size of the world's largest news app, X, which has been recently banned in Venezuela, by the way. There's clearly something going on. They'll forgive you if you lie, but they won't forgive you if you tell the truth, type of vibes. So what's going on is that Elon Musk, on his own platform, is going to be interviewing Donald Trump, and there'll probably be some questions back and forth. I believe it's going to be from the real Donald Trump, and this is a revivification of his account there on X. He's been pretty quiet, and in fact, I don't think he's used his X account since he was given back the ability to tweet. And one of the first things that he posted was this video, Tim. Let's take a look. Let's take a listen.
This is the final battle. With you at my side, we will demolish the deep state. We will expel the warmongers from our government. We will drive out the globalists. We will cast out the communists, Marxists, and fascists. We will throw off the sick political class that hates our country. We will rout the fake news media, and we will liberate America from these villains once and for all.
There you go. So, of course, many of you will not agree with that, and you'll be voting for somebody else on Election Day, and that's totally up to you, totally fine. We're going to love you either way. However, that is the very first video that Trump has tweeted out from his X account, so there's a lot of excitement, a lot of anticipation Obviously, that felt like something you'd see to hype up a stadium full of fans for a football team or a soccer team or a hockey stadium or something like that, right? Another thing
I'll say this: if you've been watching the ads coming from the Trump campaign, he has spared no pennies when it comes to his editing and creative team. Whichever side you want to vote for, it's pretty easy to say, just from a creativity standpoint, if you compared the advertisements going back and forth, Donald Trump is winning that battle easily. Mm-hmm. Does that mean everything's right? Does that mean, that's completely up to you? I'm just saying, from somebody who, teach you and I work on this, we create content, we look at what looks good, what's not good, how to formulate things. They got a pro team working over there at the Trump campaign.
Now, what I will say, Tim, putting on my tinfoil hat here, is for the first 6 seconds of a video that is viral, it's already at like 3 million views or something like this. The first 6 seconds, you don't even see anything other than a zoomed in image of a storage label. Do you think that there's something there, or do you think I'm reading too much into it?
I think you're reading way too much into it. That'd be awesome if there was something there, but I don't even know what that would be. Storage.
Maybe a little covfefe type of vibes. Something that only a small group of people would understand, Tim.
I think that's just a venue of him walking, and there happens to be a storage closet he walked right next to you. But I could be wrong.
Yeah,
who am I?
You probably are wrong, and I'll tell you after the stream what it really means in the Discord. But Tim, what do we expect there to be discussed today in this interview between Elon Musk and Donald Trump? Is it going to affect markets? Does it really matter at the end of the day, or is it just going to be really interesting banter? What do you think, Tim?
Yeah, so this is going to be a fun conversation. I want to engage with chat here as well. But we'll start with what we know for a fact. We know that Elon has said there is no script to this conversation. Now, he talked about how they will discuss the economy and they will discuss the financial situation, right? So that doesn't in itself mean that crypto is going to come up. That could simply involve inflation and how we're going to get out of national debt, right? That is what he at least implied. How are we going to fix the recession fears? How are we going to fix the national debt? Donald Trump recently has come out and said that if Kamala wins, he says that that's going to be the end of the country because debt's going to go through the roof, yada, 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 all these things. So that's going to be talked about. But with the recent engagement from Donald Trump's camp about crypto, his son's here even recently announcing they're going to be starting their own DeFi platform. We commented on that last week. I don't remember which day. Which show was that we commented on the DeFi platform? Was that
would have been
Friday? Because they announced it. No, they announced it Thursday night. So it has to be we talked about it Friday. Go back and watch our Friday show. We break that down, our thoughts on it. But as a whole, crypto is becoming a very integral part of Donald Trump's platform. Now you move over to Elon Musk. Elon Musk has a very complicated relationship with crypto. He's the Doge father, meaning if he tweets anything positive about Dogecoin at the very least pumps like 30 to 40%. He is the Doge father easily. We also know that at least his companies, Tesla and SpaceX, have Bitcoin in their portfolios. We know this. But him himself, he's been kind of a mystery about cryptocurrency. Is it because he knows he has too great of an impact, or is it because he really has not decided where he sits? He has to know it's the future, but maybe he hasn't decided if he actually truly wants to commit to one crypto over the other, and therefore he's deciding to remain silent. But if Donald Trump brings it up, you have to imagine Elon is going to break his silence. And that right there is the key to the mystery of what could happen tonight and why it could have such a major impact. Because Donald Trump's been speaking about crypto now for a while. I actually don't think really anything Donald himself says is going to have a major impact on crypto markets. It's how does Elon respond? Does Elon bring up Dogecoin? Does he maybe try to what would that, if it's orange pilling to try to get someone to buy Bitcoin, what would it be to try to get someone to buy Dogecoin, T-shirt?
Just Doge pilling.
Doge pilling? Okay, yeah. We'll go with a simple Doge pilling. Does Elon bring up Dogecoin? Does Elon bring up another coin he's interested in? Does he just talk about Bitcoin? Or does that topic not get brought up? I would put good money, T-Shroom, that at least the word crypto is said during this conversation. What do you think?
Yeah, and I think that's about as far as it goes. I do not think Elon mentions Doge. I think it has to do with just he's in so many legal battles, and then he's always, juggling if he's going to be entering new legal battles every month. I don't think he wants any more smoke from the SEC or the CFTC who might try to come at him for promoting, a coin, right? So I think ultimately, and he said this, that the days are behind him of promoting Dogecoin, right? And it's only going to really be ironic. Now, that has been, bearish for Dogecoin, I think, and that could potentially be long-term bearish for Doge. But that doesn't mean that as a project it doesn't have legs. As a meme, it doesn't have legs. I think ultimately, though, that I would love to see them kind of get into more of a nuanced, conversation about the potential of blockchain and voting. Right, I think blockchain and voting has a lot of potential. In fact, I actually put on a poll yesterday to that effect, got 33 votes. Make sure you guys are following me here on X at tshroom. I said, they are all just rich men north of Richmond until blockchain certifies votes and budgets. Didn't have a single person disagree. Of course, a little bit of a biased audience there on X, but I think overall, I do expect them to bring up crypto and Bitcoin, but I don't think they're going to linger on it very much, because I think Trump is going to want to talk about if I'm Trump, I want to talk about immigration the entire time. I'm not exactly necessarily sure why that is, but in most of his speeches, he seems to spend the most amount of time on immigration, and that is one of the things that the Democrats have failed at the most. But if I'm Elon Musk, I'm wanting him to commit to things like EVs, like making EVs great again. Whatever, promoting.
That's what I was going to get at. Is I think you're right. I don't think I've heard Donald Trump speak recently and not mention immigration. That's a given. He's going to mention immigration. It's one of the points he's winning. If people are going to just vote on the immigration issue, I don't know if there's a lot of people voting Kamala Harris. Mm-hmm. But remember the Bitcoin conference. While his speech overwhelmingly was underwhelming, he had some moments that were just, you can't lie. The man's a comedian too. He knows how to get people laughing. He talked about electricity, and he got kind of big. He's like, we're going to have so much electricity. You're going to say to me, no more electricity, no more electricity. And of course, as I think you're right, that's got to come up with Elon Musk as well. He made some comments there. He even said he acknowledged Elon and said he thought Elon was a great guy, great person. But he said even Elon would agree with me that we can't finish this electric car, project that would cost multiple trillions. I believe the number is like 14 trillion or something just to get it everywhere. So I think that could be an interesting conversation when they get into the energy. Elon, who is, of course, the founder of Tesla, where do they go with that conversation? Do electric cars get brought up? Does EV get brought up? Where does that conversation go? That could be very interesting as well. Yeah. But I wanted to go back to, I'll tell you this. You talked about the election concept. DeFi and election. You know whose Twitter account's going to be one to watch if that conversation starts to get brought up? It would be none other than Charles Hoskinson. Yep. Charles Hoskinson is going to have a field day with that because he has been trying his hardest to get a conversation with Elon on that very topic. Of course, he is going to say what I agree with is that Cardano, I believe, is the best cryptocurrency that would be built for having like elections based on them. So I'll tell you this, even though I'm interested in what Charles thinks throughout the whole thing anyway, but especially if you're right and that conversation just brought up about elections and DeFi, I will run as fast as I can to Charles's page to see what he is commenting about it because it's going to be a good time over there on X. Yep. Either way, great conversations will be had. This is someone else asked about this. There's no planning whatsoever, but I love that. I'm kind of imagining this is going to be like one of those Joe Rogan podcasts. And I don't know if Joe Rogan plans his questions or not, but it always seems like one of the reasons his podcasts are so entertaining is because they flow from topic to topic and just talk about whatever they want to, however long they want to, with very fascinating people. I think that's going to be the same way tonight. And we're going to get a lot of Trumpisms. Trump's going to make people laugh. He's going to say things that are like, okay, what did you even just say right there? But I think that this is going to be a very fascinating conversation. Could it break the internet? Could it crash X? I think Elon's a smart man. I think he knows this is a big deal. I think he has prepared his team very much so for high traffic. Could this break I don't know if this is officially the record, but could this break the numbers that Tucker Carlson, you remember when Tucker Carlson came back after his censoring and firing from Fox, but he posted that first video on X and it was like within minutes, it was like 14 million or something. Yeah. How high do you think the viewership can get on this tonight, even while it's just live?
I don't know. It's tough to say. I mean, I think 15 million could potentially happen. But more, right?
I think there's a chance this is one that potentially rivals into the 9 figures.
Wow. Yeah, but it could be. I mean, the whole world's watching. There's very few people who are more famous than these two men. Maybe LeBron James. I don't know. I can't really think of a ton.
No. You probably have to get to other people. You have to probably get to like soccer players because
that's true. Messi. Yeah, Messi. Yeah. Which may be making an appearance here later in the show. Okay. Messi. We're almost ready. Yeah. But another thing I wanted to point out about this interview is so Elon was just on Lex Friedman's podcast, and the topic came up about a potential like special committee in the executive branch that would I think it's called like a political efficiency committee that would kind of be an aid group for efficiency in politics, right? Whatever that might mean. But Elon said that he would be willing to be on that committee.
It seems like an oxymoronic statement, efficiency in government.
Well, it would be kind of like what you'd be firing a lot of people. I think would probably be what that committee would be doing, is how to
it'd be like being a lifeguard at the Olympics.
Sure. Dude, what a topical reference there, Tim. So eloquent. But I think the other thing
can't show any videos. Just don't show any videos of the Olympics.
Yeah.
I think we can talk about them. Yeah. But we made that mistake. If you guys noticed Saturday, we had to cut out at the end of the show because we showed the Olympics, and that's a no-no right there. Yeah. Don't do that.
Yeah. Messi, just hold on, just a few more minutes, Messi.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the other thing too was Donald Trump did mention in Nashville that there was going to be a committee for crypto, that if he got elected that he would have a crypto committee that would advise him on all things blockchain and crypto and Web3. So Elon could potentially announce that he's interested in doing that. I'm not getting the vibes that there's going to be a lot of announcements in this interview, but there could be maybe some tough questions that maybe either one of the gentlemen weren't anticipating for one or the other. But I think it could also be a very light conversation where they just talk about what it's like to be ultra famous and ultra rich and things like that.
Number one, I don't know if we've said it in roundabout ways, but I'll tell you the number one point of conversation is going to be freedom of speech. That is something massive.
And
they will talk very heavily about misinformation, fake news media. I don't know. Did you see? And we'll close up this conversation, moving to some Q&A and some other stuff. Did you see that there's people within the European Union, the EU? So I don't think it's UK. I think it's just Europe in general. They're calling on Elon to censor all deemed misinformation from Donald Trump, in which case my brain did two things. First of all, we're talking to Elon Musk, who has been the champion of free speech on social media now for over a year. That's not going to happen. But secondly, I'm like, let's pretend he might as well not do the interview. If he had to censor everything that the mainstream media deemed misinformation, the man couldn't talk. I mean, he bends down to tie his shoelace and they claim that he's lying about something. That it's just impossible. But it's crazy because this is a European country. I can't remember if it was a specific country or just representatives that were trying to tell Elon Musk how to run his American business affecting the American political system and the elections. But Europe thinks that they should have a say in how that goes down. Mm-hmm. If you're not convinced of the world order that's coming, that they're trying to do, and you don't understand just how important America is to the rest of the world in terms of what happens politically, that's pretty crazy right there. That they're super worried about what can be said in this interview.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be very exciting. Hopefully the X platform servers can handle it and that we don't get a huge crash. I really hope that. It was going to be disappointing. Now, I don't know if it's going to be a straight up Spaces where people can come up and ask questions.
It's video.
Okay. It's been confirmed video. Okay, good.
Yeah.
that seems to be a lot smoother.
That would be chaos if there was Spaces and people could get up there and ask questions.
Okay, now I don't see anybody requesting to come up and speak. Guys, if you want to ask a question, go ahead and...
That'd be awesome. We will have a Spaces, though. Again, we will have a Spaces tonight at 7 p.m. We'll go deeper. Is CVO joining tonight? CVO is going to be joining the Space tonight.
CVO is going to be joining tonight. PM. That's right. Yeah. At 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Big CVO. Now, we're also going to probably talk about some lower levels for Bitcoin and U.S. equities as well. But, Tim, we've got a pretty juicy factoid of the day lined up. But I think we talked about some good stuff here. There's gonna be a lot of fireworks. It can be very exciting. What is going to be discussed. I, of course, will be tuning in after our X Spaces, and it's going to be one for the books. And it'll be interesting to watch the crypto markets because the U.S. equities markets will be closed, futures will be open, just kind of see if there is any reaction. So yeah, very excited. Very interested to watch.
Yeah, real quick. People are saying, confirming, even Crux saying, "Oh, okay, I thought it was a space." Here's one of the reasons why you know it's going to be a video. First of all, they have the capability on X now, and it makes more sense. But also, last night, Elon tested the streaming capability. He was playing, I don't even know what game. He was playing some video game, and he's going to play it again later today, supposedly. He said, "I'm going to continue to test the streams." We went back to that. Is it going to crash either? Elon is doing a very good job. He's preparing. He's practicing going live. He's testing the streaming capacities. It will be visual, video, audio stuff over on X, and it's going to be a good one. Let's go ahead and start asking some questions. We're going to jump into Q&A over the last 10 minutes. Factoid of the day. Bring Messi up. Let him be the Factoid elf of the day.
All right. Let's get into it. Factoid of the day brought to you all by LuxAlgo, our favorite indicator for trading. Tim, Icon of the Seas is the largest cruise ship in the world, which sponsors everybody's favorite football player, Lionel Messi. How much did it cost? How much does it cost? Is it 1.86 billion euros, 3.15 billion euros, or 5.72 billion euros? Tim, what was the cost of the world's largest cruise ship, which sponsors Lionel Messi?
The cost of a ship?
What is the cost of the ship?
Or the cost of the sponsorship? What am I even answering
here?
I don't know
the
the question.
The cost of the ship. And I'll there'll be some lashings for the Factoid elf for not asking this very eloquently.
Now, I see people in chat here answering it. I don't know how anyone would know the answer to this question. This is such an obscure question.
A lot of B's. A lot of people saying B. Sativio Shimoto, big shout out, said B.
I have no reference for where you even begin to price a cruise ship.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious. Let's just go. You know what? I'm gonna buck the trend. Augustin just said this, but everyone else was saying A or B. I'm gonna go with C. 5.72 billion. I'm gonna go. I think you might have tried to trick me here, Elf. I think you thought that I might have gone for the lower or the middle because you guys know I have my SAT question type of
making him
response.
Angry.
I think that the Elf was trying to trick me here, and it actually wanted me to go with and it didn't want me to go with the largest number, but that's the real answer. 5.72 billion. Final answer. Let's see if I'm right.
Oh, Tim, you weren't even close.
Not even close.
There it is. The official
you're in one.
Wikipedia page of the Icon of the Seas, which is also the lead ship of the Icon class for the Royal Caribbean Cruise Line. There it is, 1.86 billion, and it has a Finnish builder, by the way, Mayor Turku. Now, Tim, you might be wondering, why did the Factoid elf pick this one? Well, your boy T-Shroom is going to be. I have booked a cruise on the Icon of the Seas. Let's go for December. Very excited.
Did you pay 1.87 billion for your trip?
That's not funny, Tim. There's no way that I would have. If I had that much money, I would not pay for a cruise.
Okay.
I would invest it in.
All
Cardano.
right. So here's the thing, guys. Factoids of the day. I'm 0 for 1. We talked about this on Saturday. From here on out, you guys need to be helping me. And to be fair, I let you guys down because most of you said A. I don't know how you knew the answer to that question, but I should have gone with chat suggestions today, and that is my bad. If I get 3 of these right this week, we will do a $50 giveaway at the end of Saturday's show for one of our lucky viewers. If you guys are enjoying the show, smash the like. I know there's over 500 of you still in here, but I think someone said there's only like 200 likes at the moment. Let me fact check this. I don't want fake news out there about Investing Bros numbers. Yeah, only 237 likes. Guys, we can definitely be above 300. The truth is there's 500 of you in here. That means we could be at 500. Just got to smash the like. It's free. It's easy. It's cost effective. It burns a calorie, I heard, in that finger pulse when you click it. Burn some calories, smash some likes. T-Shirt, what are you seeing in chat we want to address here today?
Oh, Tim, a lot in chat. Let's see. Turd Ferguson said, Timmy, I bought a Helium Mobile. Should I have just bought Helium? Love the show, fellers. Do you remember the Helium project?
We don't talk about it a lot here. I'm going to be very honest. I don't have strong opinions on it. It's been one of the ones pumping more recently.
H&T,
but I don't know. Yeah, HNT. I don't know if I would say. He said the other option was what? Helium.
Well, Helium Mobile is it's like the miner for it. Yeah, I'll answer because I know a little bit more.
Yeah,
I don't think that either is something that I would invest in. But at one point, man, those helium miners were printing money. Those things were absolutely crazy. You could make like $500 a day.
Yeah.
And you could buy like a bunch of them. But overnight, it became nearly impossible to get because of the pandemic. And I had like a few that I'd purchased, but they took forever to ship. It was annoying.
We're definitely setting up some bullishness on the charts here. Now, there's daily bearish divergence, so I think a pullback's coming in here. What am I talking about? The higher highs came in on the price action, but lower highs came in on our oscillators. So look for a small correction, but that correction could – I mean, we did already correct on here. You could get lower here. I would say if you got a $4.30 purchase, might be worth it. What I like is we're on the precipice on the weekly chart of breaking out of a longer-term bearish movement and potentially flipping into the bulls being back in control. That's what that weekly smart show is kind of saying. We have take profits, even back up here towards $11.38. So what I would say is I think that a smaller pullback could be on the table right now, at least 540, but potentially down to 450. On helium, if you do like helium, again, I have not researched it. It's not in my portfolio. If you want to know what's in my portfolio, all of our Pro Bros members get access to that in our Discord down below. Check out the link. But if you like it and you want to invest in it, because we're not here to tell you what to invest in or how much to invest. We just want to help you think through your investment. Price action-wise, from a chart perspective, I think you can hold off here for a couple of days. I think there could be a lower price coming for helium.
Absolutely. There's a lot of chatter here about helium. Honestly, it's been a long time since I've updated my knowledge about that project, but it's on track to do pretty well in the bull market, I'd say. It's got an interesting appeal for those who want something that actually touches the physical world. So it could do well. It could do well.
It's been filling up balloons quite well for a while now.
Okay, Tim, you are just the funniest of the bros. Tim, we got a couple of headlines here as well that we could cover. The first one I definitely wanted to cover just to make sure everybody is tracking. Former Bank of Japan official Makoto Sakurai said that the central bank will defer the next rate hike to next year, offering hope to risk assets, including Bitcoin. That's a good one because if you guys know, it was the yen carry trade that was kind of totally taken out. It was rugged by the Central Bank of Japan, the BOJ. So it's a good thing that they are not considering doing another hike. So that's one headline. Yeah. Also, Marathon announces it's now stamping each Bitcoin block it mines with "Made in the USA." It's very, cool. Very interesting there. In a day, maybe I think this might be a little bit of fishing to try to get Trump to talk about "Made in the USA," mention Marathon. Their stock price could definitely use a boost today. And then also Marathon Digital holding to raise $250 million to buy more Bitcoin. So some big buy orders are likely to hit the market pretty soon.
I'm glad that we're ending on this. The truth is, we probably need to do it. We need to bring that back up tomorrow on the show because what I'm about to say, 450 you are going to get to hear. I don't know how many people after a live watch all the way to the end because we're literally about to wrap up here in about 2.5 minutes or so. But let me explain to you why that is so bullish that Marathon is raising money to buy more Bitcoin. They're miners. They mine it. They mine Bitcoin every single day, and they're saying that's not enough. We need to buy more. That's big because while nobody, including the miners, know 100% where the price is about to go next. We have our guesses. We have our thoughts. We can look at TA. We can look at the news. We can predict with probability, but there's no such thing as perfection. That being said, the people on this planet that know better than anyone else what Bitcoin's about to do and are going to be cost effective with it are miners. Yeah. They know the difficulty. They know the price. They deal with it every single day. No one gets a better look at what Bitcoin is currently doing than miners. And so for them to not only just say, hey, let's just increase and mine more Bitcoin. No, that's not good enough. Let's raise money and buy more Bitcoin. That is not something to ignore, that miners are buying Bitcoin right now. Let's talk more about that again tomorrow. We'll bring that back up because that's just another piece of evidence to put on the pile that while recession fears are still here and World War III fears are still here, and even though T-Stream talked about it's not that bad, people are still concerned about what's happening out in Asia. There's so much FUD in the space, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, that is causing a lot of people to be very skeptical about the bull market. Maybe it's early, maybe it's over, maybe we this is a different 4-year cycle. There's so much evidence piling that's not FUD or FOMO. It's just fact that there's such a bright future for Bitcoin. Add this piece of news to the pile. We're stockpiling bullish news, just like Trump wants to stockpile Bitcoin. Guys, with that said, that's all we have for you guys in today's show. Make sure, like he said, check out Luxalgo, the best trading indicator in the space. It also is one of the keys that gets you into our VIP trading group. Speaking of, we're going to be going live normally Mondays at 7 p.m., but because of today's chaos with the Trump and Elon speech, and we're going to do our spaces at 7 o'clock instead of 8 o'clock, all of my VIP members, we will be going live in our Discord at 6 p.m. 6 p.m. Be there. We're going to cover a lot of stuff before the big events tonight. That being said, love you guys. See you tomorrow. Same time, same place. Adios.
Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor of the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shrooms news, got the word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.
Investing bros. Investing bros. Investing bros. Investing bros. Investing bros.